Yo, Joski.
Morning.
Morning. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How's
Uh,
everybody doing?
Today's rough so far.
Yeah.
We were talking just before we came live. Like for some reason, and I think my wife has now thrown the toaster into the garbage. Um,
Oh, that's the best way to solve the problem.
it's an issue, man. We've got one smoke detector that is not reachable. We've got like in our living room, we've got this vaulted ceiling. We would need
Right.
to like get the fire department over here to reach this fucking. Excuse me.
Oh, geez.
It's huge, the ceiling, and we cannot reach it. And every once in a while, it just decides to go off.
Wow.
But this morning,
There it is. Right on cue. It was almost like you just knew. You staged that.
it's terrifying.
Wait, did it do 3 beeps in a row
Yeah,
and then stop?
yeah.
I
Well,
think that's a low battery warning.
it could be.
Yeah, maybe the
But it didn't.
smoke.
It didn't start by doing 3 beeps and then stopping.
Right.
It was
Maybe the
just
smoke pushed it over the limit for its battery, and now it's in low battery mode.
maybe.
So you
I
just
just
have to
know
deal
my
with it
wife's
for the rest
upstairs
of your life.
spinning up. So
Morning, Nicotronis. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's morning where I'm at, Nicotronis, but good afternoon to you. If
Yep.
I,
It's 1 minute into the afternoon for me.
brutal. So I went uh, to the group page, and I've. Oh, okay. So I tried changing the banner picture that's
Oh,
been
okay.
your
Yeah.
demon tank for a long time.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to move on to something else.
So there it goes. It finally like clicked over.
Okay.
Anyway, so I put that up there as a reminder that I'm gonna finish that damn thing.
Oh,
So
which one?
it's the conquest.
Oh, okay.
So this is where I was originally thinking we'd go with the podcast today is like
Okay. Oh, that looks
what
good.
what are my goals? My goals are finishing stuff that's like 95% complete that I
Okay.
haven't touched in almost a year.
Thunder Machine.
That's on the list, baby.
it's on the list.
It's this thing that happens with me where like the conquest really like it is there, right? But I need to do panel lines, and in putting the panel lines on the wings, it corrupts the file. Like I've tried a couple different methods,
Oh,
but
geez.
every time like it corrupts it, and then when you undo, it ends up like you have to go back like a bunch of steps,
Ooh.
and it's just brutal. It's like it'd be easier to start over, and I did so much work.
Yeah.
So then I end up not touching it, and then I'm busy. So 31. It's like 20 here. I'm wearing my heavy gear today because we've had this smoke detector issue, so we've got a bunch of like windows and shit open, and it's 20 degrees out.
Oh, geez.
16 on 8 Mile.
It's like
Wow.
40 here, and that's Georgia freezing.
Yeah. Well, you know what's weird? It's about 40 here, and I'm on the corner of the map, the high
Yeah.
corner of the map.
Yep. I think the nastiness is just kind of going diagonal through the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a polar vortex, right?
Yep.
It mostly went east of me, I think, but it would have hit you, Artwann, I think, because it kind of came diagonal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the conquest is up, and a reminder that we got to get finished here. That's kind of a good way of doing that.
What's that?
Just reminding yourself of stuff you need to get done.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of it is I need to not start new things until I finish the old things. I mean, I still need to work, but like, personal projects, Patreon stuff. I need to finish old things before I start new things. It's
Right.
my brain doesn't work that way. Like I'll get an idea and it'll just spin around in there and I can't focus because I keep thinking about this thing. And sometimes I
Yep.
just need to get the thing done so I can get back to work on bigger stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
to me that last 5 to 10% is always the worst because you constantly want to tweak it. You start seeing problems that you want to go back and fix, and
Yeah.
you know sometimes
So
you just have to punt it and say, all right, it's as done as it's going to get.
okay, yeah. I'm sort of a one-track mind. Like once I start it, I have to finish. So like I won't start something unless I know I have the time to finish
Yeah,
That's rough. Because
it.
well, right, like if you've got a big project that's going to take days, like you have to sleep and eat,
Yeah.
you know, and then life gets in the way.
Yep. So yeah, I yeah, because I won't sleep and eat is what I'm saying. Like if it's something that I'm just kind of grooving on, I have to get reminded, like, hey, you need to eat. Hey, you
Yeah,
need to stop for a minute. I won't stop.
yeah. When we first started and I was in Maryland, my roommate used to knock on my door every once in a while and be like, "Have you got out of that seat today?" Because yeah, it's like because you get in a time warp, you
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yeah, that's so I try not to do any big projects. Like where it's going to take me longer than maybe a couple days. Nope.
yeah, yeah. You guys know what project I'm planning on doing, and I'm just terrified of that thing.
So you haven't started yet.
I haven't even started yet.
See,
So,
but and it's probably because it's got a little bit of that. Like, man, once I
Is
get
it?
going,
I forget the name of the guy who's doing the illustration for you. Is he done?
yes, he's done.
Oh,
Rusted Gear.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he finished back in like early October, and I still that's when I started Project Scorpion, and I kind of want to get that finished
Knocked out.
underway. Yep.
or at least stable before I start on something else.
Yep. Yeah. I
Yeah, but
get
it's
that.
I think Scorpion's getting towards the end, especially now that the holidays are over and I can focus some time on it.
Yeah. I'm gonna step away for a moment.
Okay,
You guys carry on amongst yourselves. I'll be back.
all right.
Sweet.
Yep. So how's life
Yeah.
been for you, Artwann? Have you been getting in any classified?
So yeah, actually I have. I caught a sale. Actually, no. Let me take this back. I got some stuff in, and I hadn't even talked to like I got some people that I talk to on a regular basis about, hey, I
Okay.
got this in, I got that in. My my day job, gave me like $100 Amazon card for the holiday. I didn't. I thought
Nice.
it was 50, and I
Okay.
found out it was 100. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I got on Amazon and grabbed like 5 or 6 classifieds, a couple that were like $16.
Yeah,
I got a
there
couple
are
of
a lot of bargain
troopers.
basement ones.
Yeah. So I got like a box in of just some troop building stuff basically.
Awesome.
Um, which was cool. Yeah. Really didn't expect that.
All right.
Um, but that was cool. I just got the what is it, the Storm Shadow in and stuff like that. That came in
Okay.
right near the end of the month of December. So yeah, it's like it kind of rained classifieds on me, which
Nice.
was cool. Yeah.
Ah, very cool.
Um, yeah, Nicotronis, I have that same sort of vibe. I get kind of laser focused on one thing. If I start it, I got to do it until it's done. And some people, kind of like you said, Mike, some people right at that last like 5% when you're trying to call it finished or not,
Yep.
get stuck at like I don't know about this, or maybe I want to do this a little differently, and then it's
Exactly.
never done.
Or that didn't quite look the way I thought it was going to look.
Right.
So I go back and scrap it and rebuild that part or detail that part. It's just like,
right.
well, fortunately, at least with me, my stuff is so small that no one can see it anyway. So that's what helps me keep my sanity.
Yes, I concur. Actually, back way when I was young, I used to be in like this little like art club or whatever, and there was a guy who was a little older than me, and he used to critique my stuff, and he was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be like, why are you always drawing stuff so small? He would call it cute. He's like, that's cute. Why don't you draw it bigger? I was like, because if I draw it bigger, I have to really get into like some crazy details. And so I would draw my stuff just small enough that like it really looked like what I was trying to do, but I didn't have to go super fine detail into everything,
Yep. Welcome to my world. It's like I get the general shape and I make sure I represent the shape so that you can tell the details from a distance. But like if I always post my models at the toy size at 100%. But if you printed that thing, oh my God, it would be chunky. But when you shrink it down, it gives you just the level of details that you need without going too crazy.
Right, to represent, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if I could handle it if I was trying to do vehicles in like actual classified scale.
So
I'd be.
That's just it. Like I never really intended on doing any vehicles classified scale, because of that. Well, because of that very thing. It's like the bigger it is, the more polishing you have to do too. There's folks that like to show you how skilled they are with the amount of sanding and buffing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, like I won't even show. I've printed like a few classified vehicles, and I don't even show people because I'm not about to sand and buff anything.
No, I don't do with the scale that I do. I don't do any kind of post processing. I just slather it with paint and then add more paint and hope that it fills it in.
Oh boy.
I don't even time. I just kind of, I use that apple barrel acrylic stuff, which to me works great because it is a cheap paint, but because it's a cheap paint, it's thicker and it fills in the gaps.
Fills the gaps. I'll use that when I know that I'm going to mix paints to make another color.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So, like I have like what I call my good stuff, and then I have the apple barrel because I know that like if I'm going to slap or try to really mix some paints, I'll use those.
Yeah, they mix really good.
They mix
you
well.
Can never reproduce it, but they mix really well.
Right. When I printed Mark's Optimus Prime truck I went a few days with little sleep, as I never printed anything that size before, but finished each part was like a shot of adrenaline. Yeah, okay. And I get that. I've printed some classified stuff, and you do get really happy when like those prints come together, big prints. So, like Mark, I don't know. Have you ever printed anything like to that scale at all?
So I've never printed anything. I haven't printed anything classified, but along those lines, I printed Printformer's transforming turtle van, which was dozens and dozens of moderately sized parts to all put together, and that's very similar to what Nicotronis was describing. It's like every time I got a part, I was just so excited and wanted to throw it together and piece it together and, you know, make sure that everything fit. And that was I don't know if you've ever seen that. That was an awesome build.
What's
I
that?
kind of don't remember. I feel like I've seen it, but I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah. So the guy is Printformers, and he actually creates Transformers. And he had taken an existing Optimus Prime. Either he had done it or he had worked with someone else to do it. But then he modified it to make it into the Turtle Van.
Turtle Van.
And I mean, it, you know, when I was done with it, it stood like a good 18 inches tall in its robot form. And then you could fully manipulate it and turn it into the Turtle Van. It was
awesome.
Pretty badass.
Yeah. I do agree with Sadness of Humanity. This should be the year of some really awesome custom Joe toys. So I'll be watching out for that.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting year too, because they're definitely, with whatever's going on in Hasbro, I think there's going to be a very significant lull of new toys.
It's going to be slow. Yep.
I think it's because they're changing factories and they're changing business plans and, you know, figuring out what they want to do with the brand, all of their brands actually. But when when the last order of pre-orders are slated to not come out until October of this year, it's going to be a very slow trickle of new product coming out. So I think the customizers are really going to have to step in.
Yes, sir, Mark. Well, we'll be needing to order some kits and things like that.
Yeah.
So I apologize for stepping away, but let's go over kind of the tentative schedule that I've got for the podcast real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
So next Sunday, the 12th, we should have Carter the Conqueror, James Carter, I think. Who's a former Hasbro sculpt manager, former sculptor, worked on Classified, has worked on a bunch of lines. He's working on Recall now. He's working on our friend Chris Scott, Grindhouse Toys, has a potential line called World War Hell that he's working on.
Okay.
He's Carter's absolutely amazing. He's one of the best out there, period. So
nice.
I've been talking to him for a while, and it looks like on the 12th we'll get him on here, and we'll talk about sculpting. We'll talk about sculpting within the toy industry from a real professional. It'll be good.
Sweet.
Awesome.
And then the 19th, the following Sunday, we'll be doing the 1/6 scale show. And so I want to say it was the DFW Joe Show posted a video from the last show, and it was a 3D printing panel, but it wasn't us. So I was like, that's interesting. So I started watching it, and trying to find so it's Brad, Jim, and another guy, and they're saying all the same stuff we say. What kind of printer do I get? What do you want to print? Like all the same stuff, and it was real cool. So but they're 12-inch guys. So I've invited them on, and we'll kind of talk about the differences in scales.
Okay.
It'll be like talking to ourselves from an alternate universe or something like.
Yeah.
It'll be like that Star Trek movie where it was Kirk and Picard.
Yeah, everyone's got to grow like I'll shave down
a little goatee.
So that's the 19th. The 26th is Winterfest in Kentucky, so I'm going to that. You guys, if you want to do a show. Mike's got the permissions. Well, you've got the login. So if you guys want to do a show. But I will not be around. The 2nd, I'm talking to another sculptor about who's worked on Unclassified, and I really want to get him on. So I'm holding that spot for him. Then the next weekend, another guy, another sculptor I'm trying to get on. And then the 16th, I want to say we're going to do a show about selling 3D prints.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's actually a really good topic
yeah,
that we haven't covered
because a lot
before.
of people get into it, and right away, like they start getting feedback, like how much for one of those, and it can snowball real fast. Um, so I want to talk about selling stuff, and I've talked to uh, the folks from Anthanatos Customs, and
Okay.
so he's agreed to be on. And I actually talked to Joe Walder, who we haven't spoken to in a while, but
Oh
he's out
yeah,
of town
yeah.
that weekend. So I still need another guest or two. So if you've got a Etsy store and you're selling 3D prints, hit me up and come be on the show on the 16th of February and uh, tell us about your experience.
Yes, sir.
And that's as far as I've got so far. And we still want to do an airbrushing show with Mike. Not you, Mike, not the other Mike.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean we've got plenty of topics, so it's just a matter of scheduling stuff and trying to get some advertising going.
Yep.
In that vein, G.I. Joe 3D Printing now has an Instagram account and an X account, formerly Twitter. And I'm not sure, like, other than advertising the podcast, I don't have like a real clear goal for what to do with those. But if you've got a cool project and you want to share it, you can shoot us an email or hit us up on Messenger, and I'm happy to post whatever, as long as if it's a G.I. Joe 3D printing esque thing, we can put it up.
Yeah, and something that I've found out recently from other people on Instagram is apparently you can do a collab.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you don't have to they wouldn't have to send it to us to then post it on our site. They can send it as a collab, and as long as we accept it, then it gets posted to the.
I think that's how it works. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I've definitely had people send me stuff, and I've hit accept.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I need to watch like a how-to Instagram video, because it's they just
I
keep
still
changing
know
stuff.
very little about Instagram and the way that it actually works. I just kind of throw silly pictures up there every so often.
Yeah, once upon a time, social media was pretty straightforward. Rumble, what do you? But everything's just been made so complicated.
He's the blue one, right? No, wait, that's a whole other fandom's argument.
Yeah. So, yeah, we want to kind of keep the community engaged. What I think the three of us kind of realized early on is, everyone who does this, typically your next door neighbor, most, our age, these guys, you don't typically have like a roommate who's also 3D printing and 3D designing this, like when I was in art school and I had a roommate that also was in the art school with me. Other than that, I've never had like somebody in my immediate vicinity I could collaborate with or work with or anything. So it's really about, like, a lot of people, we're doing this stuff in a vacuum, and it's so helpful to have somebody to bounce ideas off of.
Yep.
And so, like, that's what this community should be about, is like how, I learned one way to do it. Artwann taught himself a way to do it. Mike taught himself a way to do it. And, so, some things are going to work better in different situations. And, if we can just kind of learn from each other, we're just not going to be that much better for it. So,
yep. I mean, that's sort of like a great segue. Not really a segue, but like, you'll talk to people who don't really do it. They're vaguely interested. They go, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And then some of them find themselves like, "Hey, I'm getting my son a 3D printer or something like that." And then they kind of ask you questions, kind of, "Can you help me out?" I got people as far as Chicago or LA who will hit me in my messenger going, "Hey, I got this 3D printer. can you walk me through it? I'm
Yeah.
like, you do know I have a whole page dedicated to this, things like that. But like, folks really want somebody to be like you say, kind of right next door to them or right down the street where they can run down and say, hey, I got this thing. Can you walk me through it? The best that we can do is have this page in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I'm pretty good with the DLP stuff with the resin printers and troubleshooting. I am not good with FDM. Um, but I also like I've got a couple of Elegoo machines. So if you're using some other brand, there may be some tweak, some thing.
Right.
And talking to someone who actually has the same machine as you, probably pretty beneficial. So, like just having a community where you can get some real specific questions answered. That's what it's all about. So
Yeah. I even see it in other groups that I happen to be in. There's like a G.I. Joe classified group, and folks are, everybody's really right now trying to do stuff in the classified scale. And then there's people that just all of a sudden just have a 3D printer and don't know what to do. And I don't do this, even though I probably should. I should plug, like, we have a group for this. But I'm so bad at it. Like, I'll see those things and I want to do it, and I just
well,
don't do it.
it's also intimidating, right? Like
Yeah,
having an individual to talk to is much easier than throwing out a question into a group.
Right.
right.
Even though like the hive mind is probably the better mind, but uh, it can certainly be intimidating. I'll tell you what, like on more than a few occasions, I've been happy to like FaceTime with someone and talk them through like
Yeah.
try this, and I can happily claim a 100% success rate with that so far. I can count the number of people I've done that with on one hand, but
Yeah.
so far so good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with
Yeah.
that, yeah, that's helpful. It is helpful. I mean, it takes a lot for somebody who doesn't really know you to kind of FaceTime you or hit you in the group and do like the video chat and say, well, this is my setup. What should I do? We,
Well,
we
and a
just
lot
want,
of times it's I got my printer, I got it set up, I followed all the instructions, and I've got a print, and it's failing. I'm ready to throw the machine out the window.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I can just be like, show me your slice, and I can
show me a
fix it. I can
slice.
be like, Jesus Christ, like, I see what you did there,
Yeah.
because that's like for resin anyway. Like 95% of your problems are going to be your slice. It's going to be you're using light supports, and you should be using heavy. It's going to be the orientation of the thing, um, like it's a giant solid piece that's just going to create way too much suction on the bed. So you got to hollow it out and vent it. And it's usually slice. I've never had anyone where it's like, oh, I didn't shake the resin and the print failed. I've never come across that. Um, Leveling the plate is an issue sometimes, but more often than not, it's the slice. And a lot of the slicers will have like an automatic function that sucks. So yeah.
I was actually just kind of thinking, is in the near future, will it be possible to do resin printing like pre-set up in such a way like the Bamboo Labs have done FDM? Like, is that even going to be a possibility?
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
Right. Well,
I don't
not
know. I've been seeing uh, stuff pop up on maybe TikTok, definitely Instagram, where it's like, never 3D design again. Just send us your photo and we'll pop out this perfect design. And it's I imagine it's AI powered, that stuff. And I just I can't bring myself to believe it works as well as they advertise it, because that's terrifying.
It is kind of, but I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of like, will there be a
Pre-sliced.
machine, like a machine that you can purchase, put it on your desktop, just pour the resin in, and you don't have to do anything else really.
On your desktop. There's no way. No
That's
way.
what I think.
I don't.
Because the
I
issue
don't think
is like
printing resin. No.
something will eventually fail, and you're gonna have to climb inside that thing and reset it.
Yeah. To that point, I don't think resin would ever have something like that. I think there might possibly be some other form of plastic distribution that would.
Okay.
Like, have you seen this? There is a type of printer out there that can print in 3D, and basically it's like an inkjet printer, but it just prints a layer, lifts, prints a layer, lifts, prints a layer, lifts.
Yeah.
So it can print in color. It can print. So basically, it's a buildup coming from the head rather than coming from the pool of resin.
Mhm.
And something like that might be more feasible for a touch and go kind
And
of thing.
I've seen commercials for that, and there's a lot of times it's like they do like a full scan of somebody, and
Yeah.
it'll print the full scan in color, and there's like
Yeah.
a clear material that they crumble away from it that
Yes.
is used as the supports.
Yeah, it's like a water soluble or crumble away type of
Yeah,
material.
I want to see the price tag on this thing.
They are expensive. They
Yeah.
are
Like
expensive, and
half a
material
million,
is expensive.
like $500,000. Like what are we talking about?
I think they're
$5,000?
less than that. I think it's like $20,000 for the printer. But then when you start looking into the material, you're buying, 5 different. You're basically, I think you have to buy like 6 different colors:
Mhm.
black, white, then
Yeah.
your 3 color mixes, and then the soluble material.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing. I've seen some demos of it. I've seen some videos of it. I think they might have
then-
even come to my company.
So for like, if you were just making a statue of who gives a shit, that's one
Right.
thing. But for our purposes, where we've got engineering, we've got joints and axles and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like that stuff still would all need to. Well, actually, I guess with that clear material, depend if it's water soluble, you could
Right.
print like a whole something in place, dip
Yeah.
it in water, and then it would work.
Yeah, kind of like the Flexi technology that they use for FDM,
Right.
which I'm still shocked on that even works.
What are you talking about, like the bridge stuff that they'll do, or
No, like the Flexi Dragons, where it's all print on the plate, and then when you pull the thing off,
Yeah.
then you got to kind of break it up a little bit.
yeah, you break it up a little bit, and then
Right.
you've got this, a snake or a dragon or
Yeah,
whatever they've created all interlocked.
yeah. I'm trying to do a tank tread like that.
Yeah.
So I could see it happening. I'd say we're probably about 10, 15 years away from that being affordable.
Affordable.
So when
But
I'm
I think-
65,
What's that?
when I'm 65,
There you
Yeah.
go.
get into that.
So, but I see it happening. You can see the technology moving, and I think I think we'll see that. I mean, the fact that just where FDM has come in the past 5 years is insane.
Yeah, it's been actually pretty phenomenal. I was just sort of stuck in this thought. Like I was actually redoing the FEP on my big resin printer, and I was like, man, I wonder, will all this be obsolete pretty soon?
Yeah. Or so maybe the better way to do it to get there quicker is you keep your same 3D printer, but you buy one of those Tesla robots and have it remote controlled by a guy over in India that does all the work for you. So, the guy remotely controlling the robot is taking care of all the stuff for you.
That would be awesome.
That's actually almost a cheaper solution at this point.
Well, I mean, listen, I sat and I was unscrewing screws from this huge doggone uh vat,
That is the
and it was
worst.
yeah, it's the worst. And that was
I mean,
like
sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about because I refuse to play in that world.
Like
I don't want that sandbox.
whenever we do a DLP episode again, I'll clean out my vat so I can.
oh my
But
gosh,
yeah,
dude.
it's like you got to clean it out because you don't want resin getting everywhere, and then you get your little Allen wrench and you start doing. I know on my Jupiter, it's got to be like 30 screws, and then like once you take that off, guess what? You flip it over, you got 30 more fucking
Got 30
screws.
more. The smaller screws. Yep.
And it's the worst is, and I've only done this twice, but like you've got your Allen wrench or whatever, and you got to kind of put a little force into these things, and every once in a while you slip and you hit the FEP just a teeny tiny bit, and it's
Poke
this
it.
thin sheet of stretched plastic, and you just destroyed it.
Ugh,
Yeah,
man.
it's the
Oh.
devil.
So well, yeah. Give me a Tesla robot to program to do all that stuff, and
Have you ever seen the disposable vats that come with a sheet of FEP stretched? So it's just like instead of doing all the screws, it's just a piece of plastic and it's got the FEP already stretched. And
what?
it's not. I bought some for the Saturn, and they're okay.
Okay.
Like if you hate dealing with changing the FEP, it's an alternative.
So yeah, that would be interesting. Because I changed the FEP and I go to print. I got one good print off of it, and ever since then I haven't gotten any good prints off of it. So now it's like the error, like how did I error in changing this FEP?
Yeah, because right, you can do too tight, you can not tighten it enough, you can scratch it, you can poke a hole in it. My biggest thing for like how much, because yeah, once you get the FEP stretched and tightened on the frame and you put the frame into the vat, you got to tighten that down. And what I do is I take it and I look at it, and it's got to clear the entire bottom, or else when you set it down, it'll kind of wobble. And like once you kind of clear all the way around, it's usually fine.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, I know that kind of went off on a tangent, but man, the amount of time I sat there. I was watching something. Luckily, I was watching a YouTube video on some Joes or something, but it was the whole video. I'm just twerking on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because something like that, when you get into an issue like that, that's what takes all the fun and all the joy out of what we do, what we want to do, which is design and print.
Yeah.
But,
oh yeah, troubleshooting, especially like, because you can lose a day. You can easily lose a whole day troubleshooting, or 2 or 3.
Yeah. Well, then once you've troubleshot and then have to order parts, you could be down.
All of that. I had to order the FEP sheets. I was like, man, I swore I got some of these. Maybe I did, but I had to order some FEP sheets.
Yeah.
Got like a pack.
They're easy to hide too. Like you order a roll of FEP sheets. You use one. You put the thing. I just put it right there. And then and then when you need it again,
I don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
So I ordered some more.
Yeah.
I think I've done this before.
Took 2 days. So that's 2 days worth of printing I couldn't do. And I was like, I was in a mode where I wanted to print.
Yeah.
I had to wait a couple days.
Yikes.
Yep. Sadness of Humanity. That's the company I was thinking of. Yep. Wow, they are a lot more expensive than
Holy.
Does that include shipping?
That includes the robot.
That includes the robot.
Yeah. So I think if that's the one I'm thinking of, they were like, hey, and guess what? You'll be glad to know that it's small enough to fit on a freight elevator. So
That's key.
yeah.
I think that means it's not going to go in my basement.
Depends on how big your basement is.
Well, I don't have a freight elevator, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, well, that might make it a little more difficult.
Doesn't include shipping. Holy moly.
Wow.
So this was a bit of a last minute podcast plan. I didn't want to have a gap. The plan was to take 2 weeks off for the holidays and then come back, but I wasn't able to get a guest for today, but I didn't want to not do a show. So this turned into kind of a last minute thing. And, you know, we have actual viewers, and it's like something changed with Facebook, where it used to be, you know, this Restream account is linked to the G.I. Joe 3D printing page, and it used to automatically broadcast it to the page, so we would get viewers there. It doesn't do that anymore. It's still linked. It's 100% still linked. It creates an event, I think, but it doesn't broadcast to the Facebook group anymore. So I think that means everyone who's watching is on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Okay.
So progress.
But it is progress, and we are always glad to see you guys, and especially you're talking.
Yeah. Like it used to be. We've been doing this for 2-3 years now, 3 years now. And like, if we got 2 viewers, we were like high-fiving after. Like, one of them would be Mike, the other was my mom. We'd still be pretty thrilled. Yeah. So
yeah, I think the Sunday helps. I think Sunday afternoon is a good relaxing time that people are, you know, they're not usually not as rushed. There's not as many sports going on.
Yeah.
So that might be helping with the viewership.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake, we're not on the path to getting monetized or anything. We're doing our we're doing this for for ourselves.
Public service.
Something like that. But it still is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the guests that I'm trying to get. Like, it's gonna be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's crazy is there's always so much to talk about with this hobby, though. Like, and you know, it might seem like you're saying a couple things over and over, but there's always somebody new watching or somebody new with those questions. So
I got one for you that's been rolling around in my mind for a little while. I spoke to Kurt Zigian one time, and it was this meeting between him, Carson, and myself.
Okay.
And I don't know that it all ended up in the final cut that I think Carson put up, but Kurt builds models, and he likes like customizing models, and so he started to ask about, like, you know, is it hard to get into the 3D printing? Like, you know, he started asking questions, and I started answering, and then we kind of got back on track. And a little part of me would love to like invite him on and see if we can point him in a direction if he's interested. If he's even interested.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Right? Like it doesn't, his models aren't in G.I. Joe.
No,
but he's sort of,
it's all transferable.
Right. Not that. I just mean, like, we'd be talking 3D printing, and the G.I. Joe portion of it is the who we're talking to.
Right.
And my next question would be, so why models and not G.I. Joes?
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
Well, one time I worked in a donut store, and after 6 weeks of that, I couldn't look at another donut.
Oh boy. I get you. No, but it is cool. So it's the type. So 3D printing is the type of hobby for somebody like him who had to go through all of the concept of creating these toys in the most old school way possible. Like, it was the original way of doing everything that we love.
Well, I'll say in plastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and now for him to go, you know, I really do want to see what this is about.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Actually, what I think would be fun to do if we were able to get Kirk on would be to ask him, you know, what are some of the designs that didn't make it far enough that he really liked that didn't make it far enough, and if there's any like sketches and anything that's available.
I feel like
Kinda.
that mine is probably mine that tapped out. You know, like
Could be.
there's
I
so
know
many
there have been
people
a
that have
lot of,
done
you know, the
books and-
unproduced kind of things.
Yeah.
I think I'd even go as far as like what's like not like what got vetoed, or like how crazy or how intricate were the designs or things that they were trying to do that just kind of got vetoed. They had to scale it back because of, you know, cost and, you know, all those profit margins. Because it was like, dude, you guys did the flag, which was the most insane toy ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, like,
What?
no shit. Like, even like there's no Barbie dream house that's as big as that thing. Like, nothing touches the flag.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well, I think one of the best examples of that you've probably heard of is the Coastal Defender.
yeah.
You know, that was supposed to be like a full semi-tractor trailer that was 3 stories tall when it opened up, and then it became that dinky little boxcar thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just thinking in terms of somehow you got Hasbro to green light this huge thing, just this insane toy. What else? Or like even with the flag, were there design features or things about the flag that could have been, but they just said nah.
Speaking of, you can probably answer this for me, Artwann. No shit. When we got the Sky Striker HasLab and we got the little like bomb vehicles and stuff, were
Yeah.
those the same as what came with the flag?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Somebody was telling me that, and I'm like, I have no frame of reference. I don't.
they were
No.
well, the toe on the flag, the front vehicle, did not carry any missiles. It was just like a tractor. So they added that to the HasLab version, and then they kind of made the fuel tank a little bit smaller.
Right.
To me, the biggest go
And
ahead.
more intricate. So like the fuel
Yeah.
tank has the little thing on the side, little crank thing on the side that I don't really believe was on the original.
No, the original just had hoses that came down, and then the little
right.
Because I made one of my first vehicles was reproducing that. So yeah, it just had a hose and 2 little nozzles that snapped onto the back.
Boats and hose.
Yep.
Right.
To
So
me,
no, they totally gave us some new stuff with
Yeah.
it.
To me, I think the big miss on that is why did they cast it in gray? They should have done. If they had done the fuel tank in green and they'd done the front in yellow, it would have been perfect. Instead, you just get this vehicle that's just this incredibly boring puke gray color. I don't know why, because the plastic, they didn't use that plastic anywhere else in the model, so it's not like they were reusing pellets. And there was no reason they shouldn't have just shot it in colors to align with the original. The only thing I can think is that maybe because technically they released it as a Cobra version of the Sky Striker 2 with the Cobra labels, maybe they thought that gray was more of a neutral color for whether it was both G.I. Joe or Cobra. But still, I think that was really that was a swing and a miss right there on it. Other than that, awesome HasLab. It was really good.
I really like this. Like, display wise, the stand is outstanding. Like, yeah, there's a lot I like about it.
Yeah.
And I'm still wondering.
Are you looking at it?
Yeah, I'm looking right at it, and I'm wondering more so about the flag. Like, really, like, how did they even get this thing approved? And then what about it did they have to change originally?
Yeah, So that is funny. The urban legend that I've always heard about the flag is that it was never actually approved. It was intended as a build one for a show, and there was some miscommunication. And when they showed it off to the big head, he's like, "That's great, go with it." And they were like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, that's perfect, go with it." And there was a miscommunication, and they weren't supposed to actually go into production with it. But by time they had already started the tooling. Let's see.
That's sweet. That's crazy.
That's interesting. That now I've never heard that from.
Well, the crystal ball thing, I've been hearing.
We know the crystal ball thing was real.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
But yeah, the sneak thing, because I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the details of that, but I heard that was always the case. And then like 6 months later, they're like, "Hey, it's ready to go," and the big boss was like, "What's ready to go?" You know, that aircraft carrier that you approved is like the what with the who now?
Wow.
And this is why I learned, like, if I have a conversation with somebody at work, I follow it up with a fucking email. Not that email existed back then. It would have just been a memo. But yeah.
And then what I heard is that after that, they did not actually expect to sell aircraft carriers. When they had already, after it had been produced, what they decided to do, because they thought that the price point was going to be way too high, they were only going to put like 1 or 2 in a store, but it was this giant thing that kids would look at with their parents, and they would say, "I want that." And the parents would say, "No, that's too expensive. Here, we'll just get you this instead.
We'll get you this over here."
And it was kind of it was kind of the first class of toys. It was only there to make you want to see the value in the other stuff. And it was actually a surprise to them that there were so many people willing to pay that price point for it.
What was that thing retail?
99. It was $100.
Yeah. Yep.
Nothing.
And the
nothing by today's.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would be like $500 now, or if you
depends on inflation, because inflation would have been, if you look at the value of inflation, it would be a couple $100 more. But if you look at what $100 could buy you in the 80s, that was like 1/5 of the way to getting a VCR. Because
true.
Well, electronics is different too, though. Like
that's true.
Like like in the 70s, like if your parents wanted to buy a TV, like that was a couple of car payments.
Yes.
Now it's like you go to Walmart and it's like, let's go ahead and get the 70-inch. Why not?
Yeah. Who would have ever thought that the TVs would be disposable at this point?
Right.
Which is crazy.
It's like, no, I'm not going to repair that. I'm not going to repair my 55-inch TV because I can buy a replacement that's cheaper, bigger and better for less.
Yeah.
That reminds me, there's a meme out, or just like a picture of the old big screen TV, that big old unit, but it was like
the 3 lights.
Yeah, it was the biggest screen TV you could get, like in the 88.
Yeah.
That big unit.
The front protection.
Right.
Yeah.
And it says if your family had one of these, they were touching some paper, meaning they had a little bit of money.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah, and that's that's
sadness of humanity. He's done.
Yep.
Did you just do like a Google inflation and punch the number in? Is that what that's from?
So 291.31.
Shit, I could buy a flag for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, considering you look at like Super 7, what did they just do? The Cat's Lair.
Yeah.
There's not as much plastic as that in the flag, and they wanted what? That was going for what, 800?
It was expensive.
How much was the Eternia? Because that's something I have a frame of reference for. I've seen that in person.
Oh, okay. You mean the new one or the old one?
Yeah, the new one.
Well, I don't know.
I'm gonna Google it right now.
Yeah,
because that's a lot of plastic. That's got a lot.
That thing is huge.
That's a lot of tooling. It's got electronics.
Massive. Yeah,
and that's the other thing. Like if you did the flag today, I don't think you'd get away with that crappy microphone. Like you'd have to do some more.
It'd be LED lights and sounds and all that kind of stuff.
Come with a bunch of rainbow side boys and stuff.
But if you think about it, that crappy little microphone it was based off of a bike microphone. Those would have been probably $7-8 itself at that time.
Yeah.
So you're talking they were giving you a $7-8 item along with $100. That's at least 5% of the cost right there.
The 1MC.
Yeah. So I never understood why they included that. That was just kind of a.
That'd be a good question. So there's a reason for that, and it's so any U.S. Navy any Navy ship has a thing called the 1MC, and it's the speaker system throughout the ship that the captain can get on, or you can get on it from the quarterdeck or whatever. It's a big part of how you communicate on board, because I mean, if you've got a message, you've got to get to the whole crew, and they're on the 06 level or they're on the 5th deck in the bilge. Like, there's only one way to do it, and it's that system. And it like culture wise, it's a big deal.
Okay.
So
yeah,
not something I knew as a kid, obviously,
right.
But as an adult who spent his life on Navy vessels, like, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and maybe they saw it as, hey, this aircraft, it always goes back to that scene in Big, where Tom Hanks' character is playing with the giant transforming building, and he's just like, it's a building, it's boring.
Yeah.
Maybe when they looked at the flag and how little, sure, it's big and it's a play set, but it had very few features of them. There's very few toy features. There's there's the elevator, there's opening doors, and that's about it. I mean, maybe they looked at that as, okay, this is what will attract kids to it as to why they want it as a toy rather than just a static.
Screaming into their friend's ear with a megaphone.
Yeah.
So the Eternia for Super 7 was $550.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, the original one back in the 80s was like $40.
The Eternia?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Sadness has a good point. It's like, was the price subsidized by Hasbro as a marketing ploy? And that's a possibility. I mean, they were making some serious money during that time period. So they may have been, again, they may have been willing to look at it as a loss leader because it was that giant thing. It was the big shining light that brought the kids to the G.I. Joe section.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. What's even crazier is you can find old ads towards the end of the production of the flag, which would have been, say it was released in 85, probably 86, early 87. Walmart selling them for like $50 because they were the Ross of the 80s. So
yeah, and they probably needed to move them so they could make room for a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine, like, if they had something like that at a Target or a Walmart now, like, where the hell would it be?
Yeah. I've seen Castle Grayskulls at Target, and they're
not by the He-Man stuff. They're over by, like, the bikes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going to say. They have their own overflow toy section when they have something like that in.
Yeah.
There's no Toys R Us's anymore. There's no major toy retailers.
Toys R Us is coming back.
It's coming back, but it's in Macy's, and it's terrible.
Like too. Yeah.
So I just kind of did the math on what the Eternia should have cost by inflation. Should have been $175.
Yeah.
Well, but they added a lot to it. It's not. They
added a lot to it.
And
Super 7 is not a.
They're not big. Like,
they're not a mass production. They're more of a cottage industry. They're bigger than most.
Yeah.
But they're still not cranking out the millions of units like Hasbro was in the 80s.
Right. I don't think anyone is. Like, kids.
I don't think.
Kids just aren't showing.
True. I don't think anybody is.
Yeah. Let's talk about 3D printing some more.
Okay. Let's 3D print a classified scale flag.
So it's
So,
been done.
been done.
Yeah.
We need to get him on.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Were you were talking to him, weren't you, Mike?
I talked to him. Yeah, when he first came back onto the scene, I forgot which one he was doing, but I ended up talking to him for a while, and yeah, he's a good guy, really good guy. He's got some really good ideas coming up.
Cool. Reach like if you don't mind, since you've already talked to him, see if you can get him on here on a Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Like starting late February, we're wide open every Sunday. So
And that's like one of the most epic projects to recreate. Like I feel like the Terradrome in the classifier scale and the flag in the classifier scale those are just mammoth recreations. Like
Yeah.
well, those are things everybody talk about, and then for now to have people do them,
Yep.
insane.
Yeah.
Or to
It's like,
take
where
the
do we go
client
from
and the booster and turn it into a transformer.
Yeah.
That thing was insane.
That I'd like to see maybe a 1/6 scale whale.
1/6 scale for 12
Yeah.
inch.
Yeah.
Dang.
Bigger than my
Okay.
desk.
Well, we'll talk to the 12-inch guys in
Yeah,
a couple of weeks.
I don't know that they're into the A Real American Hero stuff.
No.
So we'll see. I would love to do some 1/6 scale stuff just because the possibility, like you can get so much detail, things are going to be so much stronger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good things about it.
There is a guy, I'm not sure if he's in our group or if he was posting in another group, but yeah, he's all about 1/6 scale Real American Hero.
Yeah.
And he was showing off his collection of stuff.
Was
he's
it
done
Rust?
in 1/6. Who?
Rust?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had
Yeah,
some
there's
pictures in his
I've done a
kitchen. He had
couple.
like
I've done
no
a
cat
handful
and a
of missions.
fang, and
Yeah,
some really crazy stuff going on.
Fang would be so cool. My concern with that is that it gets heavy,
Right.
and I don't know, like even on a Fang, like you've got to kind of do the skids just right, or they're not going to support the rest of the vehicle. Interesting.
It would be cool to have things that don't break if you look at them, so that would be good.
I guess what's crazy about 3D printing in general is everybody's idea of like what can you do really is based on like how big can you go.
True.
I don't like printing things in parts, and you have to with some of this stuff. Like this Conquest, eventually I will get one, like the whole thing printed, and it's like I'm gonna have to break up just the fuselage into probably 3 or 4 parts, and like I'm dreading that.
Okay.
Dreading it.
Well, my assumption is that you would be printing it all in resin, right? No?
No. That kind of thing, I'll do like the canopy in resin. I'll do maybe like the wheels in F69. There'll be some stuff that I'll do in resin, but most of it's just gonna have to be FDM.
Yeah, okay. I do the engines in resin because there's a lot of fine detail on that.
On the Conquest?
Yeah, the yellow part that comes out of the back.
What? There's a yellow part that comes out?
Before it was.
I'm trying to think of how quickly I can get to my Conquest.
Well, you can just take a look at the picture that you posted. The squared off engine in the back.
We're just talking about that little bit of there's not that much detail on that.
Really?
There's just like some lines. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, like 5 or 6 lines on each one of those, or like they kind of go. Do they go around it too?
Yeah. Here, I'll pull it up. Hold on. What sucks is like I haven't worked on this thing. So like I should have finished this thing 9 months ago.
Yeah, they do go around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm thinking more because of the diagonal.
Yeah, I just have it where this will print as one piece.
Yep.
And then if it's FDM, I'll just print it in a yellow. If it's resin, I'll print it in resin, and it should just slide into the back of the fuselage.
Okay.
But it's like I don't. This to me, this isn't a lot of detail. This is pretty minimal.
And for the size that they'll be, the FDM should be fine.
Yeah. I need to. Yeah. So this is part of my goal is like my thing for a long time has been like I don't really print FDM. I have my wife do it, and
Cheater.
but she like I'm gonna have to like she's moved up at work a little bit. She's working different hours. There's just no way. So like the 3 machines we've got have got like stuff stacked on them right now, which is just terrible. Like I'm gonna have to re-level everything. I'm gonna have to it's gonna be a bunch of troubleshooting just to get everything running. I'm sure.
Understood. I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 FDM printers that need to be rebuilt, re-leveled.
Dang.
Nope.
I've got my Jupiter. Like TVs. You're just throwing them away and buying a new one.
Yeah, I've got my Jupiter, which is starting to show its age, and I've put some miles on that thing. I've got a Saturn over there that I just brought from the shop, just so I can have like kind of 2 different types of resin going at the same time. Because there's a lot of stuff I want to do with like clear and where I don't need to do a bunch of stuff. But like perfect example is the police lights on the Thunder machine. Like I'm going to print those in like a translucent blue and a translucent red.
Okay.
It's somebody did a Thunder machine in the group recently, and it looks fantastic. But my whole thing is
the model. Because Derek Hicks just released his Thunder machine. He's the same guy that did the flag.
Oh, is that who did it?
Yeah.
I gotta pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm trying to see it.
Yeah, I went ahead and bought his model. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But and this isn't a dig, and I don't want anyone to take it this way, but like it's a reproduction of the original toy.
Right.
And at classified scale, I don't like for me personally, I want working police lights.
Yeah. I actually had reached out to him at the time. He said specifically he wanted it to be 100% reproduction of the toy.
Yeah. Oh, and there is like there are people that 1,000% that's what they want. Yep. Period. And great. And I get that. I do. But for me personally, like I want to do a little more.
Yeah. Well, I'll throw the advice that I'd love to see in a Thunder machine at classified scale, and that's to give storage for the Dreadnought's weapons. Some way to, realistically hold rippers, pneumatic jaws of life and Buzzer's chainsaw, whether it's hidden or not. It's just they came with so much junk. I mean, accessories.
I'm just like scrolling. I feel like I just saw this. There it is. Yeah, Derek.
Donald, I totally agree. I need to get a couple of my printers up and running again. That's a great goal.
Yeah.
Get my 3D printer printing again. And then also want to say hi. Who was that? Piston Honda 87. Hello. And we're glad you're watching.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can kind of get to wrapping up. Has anybody got any questions? Like, hey, I'm watching you because I'm hoping you drop some gold nugget about why my machine won't do X or whatever. Has anybody got any like specific, whether it's printing troubleshooting or design issue questions or slicing questions? And we're happy to kind of talk you through a little bit of that. Otherwise, I think we're going to kind of wrap this up pretty soon here. Yeah, actually, I have a friend who I might be doing a call with later today to help him with a resin printer that hasn't been working for him. I don't mind.
Yeah, no kidding. I know Mark kind of walked me through. I think the first one, the Elegoo, those few years ago. That was
Ooh,
about 4 or 5
no,
years
we
ago.
didn't get it working though, did we?
Um,
So there
yeah,
goes my success rate that I was bragging
no,
about
yeah,
earlier.
we did originally get it working. It's just it started acting crazy where I posted some videos on YouTube showing what it was doing. It hasn't worked since then.
Like and subscribe. Smash that like button. Oh, so yeah, hey Don, like give me a call. That's who I was talking about. Not to put your shit out there, bud. But
Yeah. It's always made it larger and more realistic, drifting away from the cartoony style of image.
well, that's not totally true because look at the Super 7, the Ultimate figures. They're leaning way into the cartoons.
Oh yeah, man,
Even,
those super
and the what are the other ones? The Reaction line leaning
reaction.
Yeah.
all the way into the cartoons, and they're not bigger. They're 3 3/4. So, like, if you're wondering why
So
Hasbro specifically isn't, I think the answer is because they've licensed that shit to other people, and they're getting money for it either way.
and I think yeah, if you like ever like listen to the designers like Lenny and the whole team, they kind of get to reimagine them a little bit, so
Not
that
as much as they should.
not a
And
yeah,
and by that I mean they. I'm not saying they're not doing it enough. I'm saying they don't have the opportunity
they
enough.
don't have the
Fan
opportunity.
base
Yeah.
won't let them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they listened to the fans, whether before or after. A lot of it had been after. Um, a lot of fans want them to look a certain way. And so Hasbro has sort of like a formula now where okay, if we make it like this, where we can kind of reimagine it a little bit here, and then maybe they'll do a retro
Yeah,
version of stuff to
which
to
is
help
it's a
appeal.
little bit of the best of both worlds. I think.
Right,
Yeah.
I
right.
really don't mind. I think the retros display really nice on the card now that the card backs are solid. Like,
Yeah.
and they're just good looking. Like the retro Cobra Commander, that is my favorite damn figure right now. Holy crap! And I like the idea of them getting to reimagine and be creative and do cool stuff. But then you give me this figure, I have it right here. Like you give me this figure, and it is perfect, and it is so spot on.
Yeah.
The original and the cartoon, and just holy crap. Yeah, I love this figure.
Which is amazing. Like when they did the first one, in that first run, I thought that was a pretty decent reimagining of
It,
Cobra Command.
I agree.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
really
That
good.
Cobra Commander was good.
Yeah,
Okay.
Everything else from that reimagining was not.
like that first like 20 figure. Well, up until
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Up until to me, Destro was the first one that I finally looked at and said, okay, that's the figure. That's what I want. It's a little bit more modern, but close enough to the original. And then they knocked it out of the park with Major Blood,
Hmm.
Yeah, Major Blood that's a really good figure.
which I am just shocked that they haven't done a retro carded Major Blood yet.
What would change? Colors a little bit.
Colors.
Availability.
Well, yeah.
I
Okay,
mean, that
yeah.
was one of those Target exclusives during COVID. So, very few people were able to get a hold of that.
You know what's
Other than
crazy?
that, I maybe make them a slightly less brown, kind of kind of make it more of a brighter brown color. And other than that, there's not really much you would even want to change on that. It was spot on.
So like the eel, just get him out there again for folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's crazy is that Major Blood was actually the first one that I opened.
Yeah.
Because I liked it so much, yeah.
Yeah, I think the other fun well, no, they won't do that because it's a toy. But I think one of a cigar with a smoke effect for Major Blood would have been great. But they're absolutely not going to do that for a toy. Never, so forget that.
Well, Hasbro.
Yeah. But yeah, that was an incredible figure. And what that original Cobra Commander, what made it even better was by giving him his hairdryer on the back and a fully printed Megatron.
Yeah.
Which I ordered from you, Mark, early on. I don't know if I even knew you at the time when I ordered those.
No, because that was well after.
Was that after the Twitch?
Maybe it was because I did the backpack and the gun. I did on Twitch.
Okay,
that might have been like how we met.
Yeah,
like, no shit.
It was very early on. That's for sure.
It's how I met your moderator.
Yeah, that was a very good figure. That I like that reinvention.
It is a great sculpt. It's not very like. I don't know if you could get him like on a motorcycle or like I don't know. Well, right, like he's not a statue,
right?
He's an action figure, but he's not the most posable dude. But
because they gave him that. Fantastic. They gave him a full coat.
Yeah,
and that kind of really limited what you could do with him.
I really like the pistol that he did come with. It's like a flintlock with like a snake sculpted into it.
Yeah.
It's really, really detailed.
It was a fun design. Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All for that video game.
Don't talk about that.
I have it and I never played it, so
I have it. I played it a bit, and it's just like you want to kind of immerse yourself into the game, and it's just such a punch in the fucking face. Everything like that, just like you're like attacking the flag, so you're on it, and Sky Strikers are strafing, so you're shooting them with like a
big turret
with a turret.
Yeah, there was.
And then and for me, the thing was like once you get into the belly of the ship, it doesn't make sense. It it's
way too big.
A bunch of things.
Yeah,
there's just a bunch. Again, like we talked about this earlier. Just because I've been on a bunch of aircraft carriers and I couldn't turn off my suspension or couldn't turn my suspension of disbelief back on.
Of disbelief, yeah.
And that's it's a dumb, nitpicky, stupid thing, but I just couldn't do it. That new game that they've got, the one that looks like a retro,
the side scroller,
yeah. What's it called?
Looks like Contra.
Wrath of Cobra. Yeah, that one hurts my brain trying to play it. There's so much stupid stuff in that makes no sense.
I got it, and over the holidays, my brother was visiting, so like two of my sons, my brother and I, were playing together, and we had fun. We had fun playing the game as a group. Individually, I can't do it.
Yeah, there's so much just weird, stupid stuff that's going on that didn't need to happen. That's the thing. You could tell that they knew their G.I. Joe. They pulled
someone did. Yeah.
Yeah. They pulled some deep cuts as far as stuff that they were showing, but from an action game, like Roadblocks, this is a brawler. People are punching and fighting. Roadblocks' big punch is he punches both fists forward at the same time. Nowhere ever is that going to be effective for doing anything. And it's just that kind of stuff that I'm like, have the people that created this game ever thrown a punch? And there's like you're fighting Destro, and he'll throw one punch out, and then he'll leave it there, and then start punching with the other fist. Again, What?
So like
How
that,
does this-
and then
Yeah, and then punching with the other. It's like, what in the world is going on here?
see, all of this is making me want to play it. So
So
Yeah.
okay,
and so this was my thing. All the goofy, cheesy, what the fuck is happening stuff in that
Yeah.
game reminded me of playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Nintendo back in the day.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it was the same thing. It was like, what the hell were they thinking? Like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
This is not very good. And like, I got nostalgic for the incompetence of the game design.
okay.
Okay. That's
I'm going.
fair.
I'm gonna check it out. I got to get it. I
Yeah,
actually
Punch the hiss to explosion. Yes, you do punch the hiss until it explodes. Yes.
crazy.
That's only slightly worse than like the single pistol shot to the tank and it explodes. That happens in every episode of the cartoon.
That's true.
Sweet.
I do wish they would have added a special feature where you were running around holding a big orange missile and threw it at the hiss.
Who was that? That was Chuckles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So yeah, somebody in the group did that recently. I got somebody requested when Chuckles came out, a bunch of people asked me to make an orange missile.
Okay.
And I went so far as to I because I didn't own one, I went and I bought the damn Havoc, thank you. And I got the missile and I measured it up, and then that's as far as I got.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
But somebody in the group did one recently, so.
You didn't have a Havoc? You see, you guys, come on.
I didn't have a lot, man. Like, I was the older son, so I was supposed to be playing football and I don't doing stuff. My brother would get
the toys. You
toys.
had to be the dude.
Jumped on him. Like, he had the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
The classic example I talk about, like how I got screwed as a kid, was he got the Devilfish and I got the Hydro Sled.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
The
Hydro Sled is at least better than the Battle Barge.
Okay, yeah. But
not much, but
what
still a little bit.
Mr. Zero did one. It was the it was like a jetpack. It wasn't the claw, it was purple.
Oh yeah, the
on the art on the box.
Yeah, what did they call that thing? The big red square.
Yeah. It was like an engine with it was just like a boxy engine.
Yeah, that thing is terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's called. I have it too. I even have the box. I can't remember the name of the thing.
Yeah. I have so much shit I want to do.
Was it?
Has anyone seen anyone do like a good pogo yet?
No. There was somebody that I saw some designs of it, but I've never seen one done.
Like finished.
Yeah, I did I did a miniature version of it, and I actually did that one as, kind of a challenge to myself of how fast can I make this.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits the basic function of a pogo, but it's not anything to write home about.
Yeah.
Not my favorite vehicle at all.
I've had better appreciation for the pogo when they were going all in on space. They actually took it and they recolored it and they made it a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like that a lot better because it looks like something out of Space Invaders.
Hold on.
But the pogo itself was.
Do you remember what it was called?
What? The space version?
The space pogo.
Invader.
Cobra Invader.
Yep.
Space Invader. I think they took that joke all as far as they could take it.
Yeah. Yeah, the color scheme works. The concept of it as a spaceship works a lot better. Sort of. Won't want to be in it flying around in space, that's for sure. Yeah, there you
go. I have this too in the box, and it'll always stay there.
Yeah.
I have no memory of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was way towards the end of the line.
I like which is the prototype with the copper. I like that. Here
Yeah.
they're kind of brown. This looks good.
Yeah, the color scheme works a lot better. I still haven't. That reminds me, I haven't made one of those as the Invader. I did do the Night Pogo.
There's a night pogo.
No, somebody had done it as a joke at one of the
Oh,
Joe. You know how they'll do like short runs of toys.
yeah.
So yeah, they had made like 20 Night Pogos to sell at one. I think it was at a Joe Fest. So I did print a mini of that. Oh God, there's the terrible Coastal Defender.
Just Cobra Jetpack.
That's it.
Jetpack. Yeah. That's why I'm like, I couldn't remember the name, and there it is, because it is what it is.
Yep.
I haven't seen a C-Ray. Like, because this is the thing. Like, we've got there's a finite amount of vehicles from the Real American Hero line.
Yeah.
And we're seeing more and more get done. Like, we've seen a Coastal Defender. Someone did a Buzzbore. Someone did God damn it, Zero. He did the pack. I have not seen a Maggot or a Mamba. We've seen a Defiant, kind of. You did a Crossfire, Mike, but not classified.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the C-Ray or the Pogo.
Yeah,
I think Artwann, you're working on the Mobile Command Center.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Persuader. I don't even know what the Road Toad. No one's doing that.
No.
I haven't seen a.
Honestly, I always thought, if we can get this concept of community projects going on where multiple people are contributing and we start guidelines, I did think it would be neat to say, how can we make the Road Toad cool? What could we do to that thing to actually make it something that you wouldn't be depressed if you got it as a gift? Road
Thanks, Mom.
was just terrible.
Yeah. Mike, you've been a bad boy all year for Christmas. You're getting.
You don't get coal in your stocking, you get the Road Toad.
What G.I. Joe Grail figure, vehicle, or playset would you love to see come to life in 2025? One from each of you, please. And then the other one is, I'd really like to see the changes to the classified Havoc. So, meaning like, how would they reimagine it?
All great questions. So, for 2025, no kidding, like these big projects, I seem to get hung up on them because I'll get to a point where something doesn't work, and then I set it down, and then I don't go back. And we were talking about that earlier. So, no shit, 2025, I'm finishing my Thunder Machine. I'm finishing my Conquest. And then the next one after that for me is the Imp. I'm doing an Imp, but I'm not just making the original and scaling it up. It's going to be significantly larger. So I'm going to pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah, Donald has the best point. How about making the Cobra Rat cool?
Impossible.
Yeah, I was at a Joe show one time, and they had a box where they were giving away vehicles, and the rat was in it, and I looked at it and said no.
All right, so I don't love the mine dropping thing, but so for me the Imp is a TEL. It's a transporter erector launcher, and you can put whatever missiles back there you want. So like, no kidding, maybe the second thing I 3D designed ever, maybe the third, were alternate missiles for the Imp, like a whole CBR thing, like chemical, biological, radiological. So that's cool, right? But like, we can make it bigger, we can make it working treads. My thing is, like, your guy, he's kind of got eyeball defecate crouched down inside there, but like, he's firing these giant missiles. They're gonna take off a foot over his head, and it's gonna melt his face. So like, he should really have like the ability to get all the way in and close the canopy. And so I want to make it big enough for the figure to get inside all the way and have a canopy that closes. I created a custom like windshield for this thing, and then I like that 50 cal that you had for the DPV, Mike. I created that for the Imp because that goofy yellow gun, according to the blueprint, is a 50 cal. So I made an actual 50 cal, was using that. So this is, once I finish Thunder Machine, finish Conquest, this is my next kind of project for 2025.
Nice.
So
And
hopefully,
you're aiming for classified, right, for the M?
yeah, classified scale. Cool. So those are mine.
Wow. Okay. Mike, go ahead and go. I got so much stuff running through my head, and I'm like, which would be the coolest?
I mean, obviously, I want to finish the DPV, which is what I've got going on here. I'll show you the latest status of it.
Let me put you up front.
Okay, actually, let me.
So look, you got the nice.
Yeah, so it's starting to build. It's starting to build up. I finally came up with a system. So this thing rolls nice. I finally dialed everything in, got the wheels where I wanted it to be. This thing will flat out fly, and it's just plastic on plastic. So I can.
It looks really good with the hubcaps on.
Yeah, so I got I finalized the wheels. So the wheels are finally good. I did the rocket launchers last night. They clip onto the top. I've got, I had to use my old gas can. It actually fits kind of, so I'm going to modify it a little bit. But it's coming along. I'm getting very happy with where this thing is going. We did the grenade launcher live build right before the holidays. Working on a roof and a mounting for. I'm actually using your roadblock modus.
Okay.
I'm going to take your files and I'm going to modify it slightly.
Okay.
To give it a better mount and to try to get it working.
Remind me, and I'll send you the step file.
Okay, that'd be great. But yeah, this is moving along, and for everybody that doesn't know, this is what we came up with as a community project. So there is a special Facebook page that's Scorpion DPV. All the files
at the top of the G.I.JOE 3D printing Facebook group. It's pinned up there, so you can just go to the top of the page and you'll see it.
Yep. Right. So the concept is this isn't. I'm moving forward with it because I want to see it completed. But the whole concept isn't that this is my project. This is a community project. So I've got details out there on, how the design is made, what the mating points look like. So the concept is anybody can contribute parts to the design. If you don't like the way that the wheels look, I've got the information there so you can design your own wheels. You can design chairs. You can design and modify it however we want. And the concept is that this is a community project so that, people can add different options to it. But my goal for this year is to finish up, and earlier this year is to finish it up to where there will be enough files available for someone to build the completed vehicle. And then hopefully from there, that will encourage other people to start making different versions of parts so that we have, more like a toolbox of things. Say you don't like this gas can, replace it with someone else's gas can design or someone else's engine design. So we'll see. We're getting some traction on that, and we'll see where we go with it with this year. But I'm getting close to having a full finished version. So that's exciting.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and then there's another big project that I'm still working on, but really I won't mention that one until I can get a little.
We've talked about it on here repeatedly, have we not?
I can't remember if that's all been after or not. Well, I'll just go ahead and say. So my plan is to build a model version of the original air carrier, the Cobra's air carrier from the miniseries. Now the
one that crashed into the flag.
Yes.
It's saying.
Yep. So when I'm talking about a model version, it's the intention for my file size is that the whole thing will be about 2.5 feet long, the kind of thing that you would set up on a desk. But it won't be toy scale. It will be realistic scale, meaning if the thing was supposed to have 20 planes on it, it'll have 20 planes on it. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing, as opposed to the flag that can fit 3 F-16s, whereas a real one can fit 28, along those lines. So, It's going to be, it's intended to be a model, but it's a full scale model.
Gotcha.
So gonna see where we go with that. Yep, Sadness, the Cobra Trawler. I hate that name, but that's kind of the original name that they gave it. So I'm kind of stuck with it. That's why I just call it the air carrier.
Yeah.
Interesting. As far as figures are concerned, I'd like in 2025. Let's talk classified real quick.
Oh,
I'd like if I had a Grail set of figures, I'd want to get the Renegades. Okay. And maybe even an alternate Slaughter, like the one that kind of would go with them, which is not,
like a Renegades. That didn't happen, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Slaughter.
Probably what I would see there is they would probably give him the same color scheme as when he came with the Warhog. That was kind of the same. I think that was the same year, so that would kind of be the Slaughter association. Yeah, him.
Yep.
Yeah, I love this Slaughter. This Slaughter is awesome.
Yeah, that would be a good set. That would be a really good set.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they just go ahead and say, "All right, we're going to do the set," and it's just like all four of them together.
Yep.
That would be kind of Grail to me. If it was like one individual figure that I'd really love to see Hasbro's take on it, it would be Big Lob.
That would be, yes. Hasbro have they ever officially done a Big Lob? I know they did there was a collector's in 3 3/4.
Right, and that was
wasn't
that
there
was kind of
or was that did I just see customs? Was it
right?
Do a fridge?
I would like for them to do a fridge, but I just don't know if they'll get the rights to do that.
Yeah.
But Big Lob, they never really did an actual Big Lob.
We got Chuckles, we got Jinx, we got Falcon, we got Tunnel Rat.
Yeah.
We got Chuckles.
Yeah, and you got Law and Order already in the pipeline.
Yeah, Law and Order's on the way.
Yeah.
So
the whole crew.
Big Lob would complete the crew.
I would love to see Big Lob. I would love to see them do a character that is ingrained into G.I. Joe that they've never really done an official release of. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would see that they would probably do that as a Pulse or a Comic-Con exclusive.
Well, I mean, how many did we get? Were there any Sunbow cartoons after the movie? Or was that it? That capped it off, kind of, right?
That capped it off. Then it became
because they were kind of setting it up where Tunnel Rat and Big Lob were going to be the new Bazooka and Alpine.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I was on board with. Like that would have been fine.
Yep.
Like it's just nice when you get a couple of characters that are friends.
Right.
And not just colleagues. I don't know. But you
know
what I mean? It's endearing.
They're not just work buddies.
Yeah.
I like the friendship between Alpine and Bazooka, but I more like the hatred between Leatherneck and Wetsuit. I love that play.
It was a good one.
The Navy versus Marines. That was just so fun.
Good. Yeah. Good one, Mike.
So So figures wise, that's what I'd like to see happen. I don't know if that would happen in 2025, be it that they kind of already pipelined what they got coming out.
Yeah, unless it's one of those coded things that we just don't know who it belonged, who the name yet. But yeah, they're kind of set in stone until 2026 at this point, I think.
Right. If there was a vehicle, so for me, there was already a hint of it on the back of one of the boxes, but I'd like to see the Sky Striker happen, but not in the regular old way that it will probably happen. I'd like to see, like, if there was going to be a Sky Striker, I'd want it to be RC.
Like actually fly with a
Yeah,
jet engine.
yeah.
The problem with that is it has to be so light.
Yeah.
True. Well, so I saw. I'm always kind of watching videos and stuff. I saw someone just flying like an RC F-14, and I was just like,
Yep.
man, that would be the way to go for an actual Sky Striker for a classified scale. Like that would be the showstopper.
It would be a showstopper. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. I don't know. I could see the Conquest as a HasLab.
As a HasLab.
The Sky Strikers.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly I thought the damn Rattler would have been too big. I didn't think we'd actually see the Rattler. So
I
who
was
knows?
shocked with that. Yeah, I was surprised that they did that.
So I think the Sky Striker's in the pipeline. Like they have when they put things on the box, that pretty much means they've got the go ahead to make it.
Maybe.
Yeah, the only thing I think could hold the Sky Striker back, and I'm surprised they got away with it with the previous Sky Striker HasLab, is the fact that they do have to pay royalties
Grumman.
to Northrop. Because that is a true to life vehicle and they do have to pay royalties on it.
Interesting.
I don't know if that would impact it. Yeah, that would be interesting. Toy wise, one of the things I would like to see is more of these G.I. Joe Transformer crossovers, but that makes sense.
No,
Because so far,
I mean, there's the Hound freaking
Bumblebee.
no Vamp.
So they're going to do Hound Vamp?
I believe so. We've been seeing pictures popping up of it.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Like concept art stuff or something.
Okay.
I should pay more attention to some of these podcasts that I listen to.
Okay, so that would make sense. Yeah, Bumblebee as the All Striker made no sense whatsoever.
No.
Okay, but a Hound Vamp is on point. And
that's just win-win-win. Like it just
yeah.
And it's like somebody made one in one of these 3D printing groups.
Yeah, I made a mock-up of one years ago.
Yeah.
I think I used Joe Waller's early Vamp and I combined it with
Optimus Mobat. Yeah, that's another one. That I heard that one. That might have been this morning that I heard that one. The Optimus Mobat.
Oh yeah.
So I know about that. I'm like, and obviously I'll get it, but I'm not satisfied with that. Like,
I love the concept. I have not been happy with the implementation at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it was going to be an Optimus one, that to me should be the Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, that's true.
Ugh. Yeah. Now, yeah, there's. I am curious to see. No shit. What's the next HasLab going to be? Because it could be Sky Striker. I'd rather see them do like the Mauler. The Mobat's so dated looking. I'd rather see the Mauler, which is also dated looking now, but less so than the Mobat.
Yeah, if I had to predict, I would say that the next HasLab will be a Thunder Machine.
Thunder Machine.
Yep.
Okay.
I think Thunder Machine. It will be made. I think it would. My guess is it would be based more off of the figures rather than the vehicle. I think it would come with Thrasher. I think Zanya would be a really good choice for a HasLab figure. And
then you throw in Zanzibar because no one gives a
shit. You could throw in Zanzibar. You know, the offshoot. You know, basically the offshoot dreadnoughts that probably are not going to sell on their own.
Yeah.
I still think it would be interesting for them to do a monkey wrench, but I still think they're going to do a monkey wrench with a ram. That just makes sense.
Okay.
You know, because there was the Sears Dreadnought ram, and then monkey wrench would just be a perfect fit for it. So I see that coming as a.
You're saying as a 4th RAM repaint,
yes,
and then the 5th RAM repaint can be the Action Force 1, and they can just throw a Glenda in with it.
Right.
Or Quarrel.
Or Quarrel, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Quarrel.
Sorry. I need to open that still. I have that box right here.
The Quarrel or the Ram?
Quarrel.
That Quarrel is a good figure. They did it. They did a really good job with her. Even though it's just a repaint, but it's still a really good.
I'm real happy. Scarlet, Glenda, Quarrel, like they nailed that.
Yeah,
it's the same figure with repaints and but no complaints from me.
Okay. A Beachcomber All Striker.
That would have made more sense than Bumblebee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are some things. So Mike, are you saying the Transformers crossovers? You don't like any of them so far, or what?
Not really. No, I mean, I the only one that I've actually bought is the Hiss
Megatron.
The Hiss Megatron, and I liked it as a toy. I thought Megatron was a poor choice for it. I think they should have made it a new generic robot that looked like the Hiss Driver, because the Hiss Driver kind of looked like a robot to begin with.
Which is what they do with a lot of the crossover stuff, like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
I will say that even though I didn't get it, the Triple T being Cup was probably their most inspired choice.
Okay.
You got Sergeant Slaughter, and then the robot he's paired with is the crusty old soldier.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good choice there from a story point of view.
Okay.
Soundwave being the Thunder Machine makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
That should have been Rektar.
Thunder is a sound.
That's true. That's true.
That has to
really
be
could have been Rektar. I think that would have made more sense.
That would have made
sense. Really a faction. He's kind of made a junk anyway.
Yeah. All right. We got to bring the speculation train into the station and wrap this up. So, yeah, we should be back next. We will be back next Sunday. Okay. I should have a really awesome guest in Carter. So yeah, that's kind of it, and we'll see you next weekend. Yeah, like no kidding. I'll get as soon as I can nail things down with him, and we're supposed to talk tomorrow. I'll start advertising, because just the questions we could ask him as a former Hasbro Sculpt manager, like about industry and ZBrush. So it'll be good.
Yep, that'll be an awesome one.
All right, guys. Thanks again for checking it out, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
All right, Joe.